Hey guys, welcome back to NerdCrave, and today I want to take some time to talk about one of my favorite ways to play video games, and that is with an arcade stick. Here you can see I have the 8bitDo arcade stick. This is compatible with Switch and PC, and I guess Xbox too, with the X inputs. The great thing about this is that it can switch back and forth here. I'll just bring it a little more into focus. This can switch back and forth on the fly between Switch and PC, and I have my Switch set up right here. I have my PC right here, and this is set up to work with both of them on the fly, which is fantastic. It has Bluetooth support here that connects to the Switch, and then it has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle that I can plug into a USB on my PC, and so it just really seamlessly goes back and forth. And I wanted to talk to you today about my experience with both this arcade stick and the games that I love to play on it. So this is not the greatest end-all be-all arcade stick. This is an entry-level arcade stick that you can find on Amazon pretty cheaply. It runs about $129 Canadian, which is about 99 or so dollars US. It's accessible, it's easy to get into. It is not the greatest arcade stick in the world, but it is perfectly serviceable, and the great thing about it is that it's heavily customizable. You can replace all of these buttons and the stick and everything with higher quality Sanwa stuff if you want. It's very easy to do. I may do a video about that in the future because, you know, these buttons are completely functional, but I'd like to have some color coding of the buttons, change some of the colors of the buttons so that I can tell what I'm clicking a little bit easier. I also want buttons that have a little more resistance and a little more travel. These are, you know, they're great, but they're just kind of, you know, clicky. They work fine. There's a good response time on them. The stick, I actually have another arcade stick in the other room, a Mayflash F300 that I use for my PS3, and I really prefer the stick on that one over this one, so I may actually swap the sticks at some point and see how that goes. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. Today, let's get into some of the games that I absolutely love to play on this arcade stick and just show you around both my Switch and my Steam library. So let's just take a look here. Here is my Switch. We'll just go into all software. Now, the Switch does not really have folders per se, but it does have a function called groups. So we'll just go into the groups, and I've created a group for the games that play well on my arcade stick. So we'll take a look here. I'm not going to actually go into and play any of these games just for, you know, as far as getting through this video quickly. We just want to show you the games and tell you whether they work really well or not. Mega Man 11. This game is really fantastic. If you are into action platformers with combat and stuff like that, and you haven't played a Mega Man game, this is probably a great accessible place to start. This game is pretty cheap on the Nintendo Switch. It's accessible. You know, no joke, it is definitely difficult. There's going to be a challenge there for sure, but beautiful graphics, great, tight, fast-paced gameplay, great controls that work fantastic on an arcade stick, so I would highly recommend Mega Man 11. Mr. Driller Drill Land, just moving over here. I haven't had a whole lot of time with this game, but it does work fantastic with the arcade stick because of the nature of the game. It is a, you know, an arcade game, so it would make sense, right? This is a very fast-paced game, you know, puzzle element. It's mostly a puzzle game, to be honest, but it's great. If you haven't played a Mr. Driller game, it's you know, if you can pick this up for $5 or $10, it's definitely worth looking into. And then we have here the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. The Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection has a whole bunch of the old Street Fighter games on it. This is pretty accessible. You can pick up a physical copy for like $30, probably $20 US. Has a bunch of, you know, Street Fighter 2s and alphas and things like that in it that play fantastic with an arcade stick the way these games were intended. And moving on over to Arkanoid Eternal Battle. This game is a real shame, to be honest, because it's actually really excellent in the vein of your Mario 35s and Tetris 99s and things of that nature. This game is a head-to-head sort of battle with a bunch of people online playing Arkanoid, a great new fresh version of Arkanoid. Sorry about the cat here, folks. He's hungry, I guess. But Arkanoid Eternal Battle is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, nobody's playing it. So when you go into these battles, you end up playing against bots, and it's fairly easy because you're not really playing against human beings. Still a fun way to play Arkanoid, no doubt. Moving on here, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. This is one of the first games that I purchased on my Nintendo Switch way back in like 2020 when I bought it. This game is a lot of fun. It's really well designed. It's definitely got a lower budget to it, but the controls are fantastic. I played through almost the entire game. I couldn't beat the final boss, but I will be going back to this again and playing it more and more on the arcade stick because it's just fantastic, guys. Like if you like this original arcade style of control, you'll be finding more and more games that work great with it. You'd be surprised to see Hot Shot Racing in here, or any racing games, because I've got Horizon Chase Turbo in here as well. These arcade-style racers work great with this, despite your stick not having analog control and your buttons not having analog control. That's still fine. These games actually feel great on an arcade stick. The fast pace, having that stick control, it feels much better than a thumbstick. Again, like I say, despite not having analog control, which means you have to change your steering style a little bit to kind of be, tapping left and right, but it's a lot of fun. It gives you a whole new experience on how to play. So Hot Shot Racing works really great with an arcade stick. And, I don't need to mention Horizon Chase, obviously. This one here is Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection. This game is fantastic, by the way. If you love these older games, or if you're just a fan of video game history, Atari 50 is fantastic. It takes you through basically an interactive museum gallery with little bits of documentary videos and photos, documents, and all that kind of stuff, talking about the development of certain games, and then lets you play that game. And it also has several remakes of some of the older games in a more modern, more accessible style. But every game in here pretty much works great with an arcade stick because Atari games originally came with a joystick anyway and one button for the most part. So this works great on all Atari 50 games. Mortal Kombat 11, every fighting game, the jury's out on whether an arcade stick will make you a better fighting game player or not. Most people say whichever you choose and whichever you practice on, you will get good. Mortal Kombat, in order to play Mortal Kombat properly on an arcade stick, you really need a custom arcade stick that has the controls laid out in a certain way. Mortal Kombat is playable on here, and you can get used to these controls, but there are certain specific... I used to have one, a custom arcade stick that was built for Mortal Kombat 10, and absolutely loved that stick, but it's a complete mind job because you have to change over your controls completely in order to make it work. And then R-Type Dimensions, any shoot 'em up. I have a couple other shoot 'em ups in here which I didn't mention, but R-Type Dimensions is a fantastic game because it has a couple of different, two different R-Type games in here that you can experience, and it has the new and the old graphics for it, but these games were absolutely designed from the ground up to work in the arcade. Let's just check this out a little bit here. So R-Type Dimensions, you have this kind of museum sort of thing where you see, we've got arcade cabinets here. We want to play this and check it out. I'll just bloop through this a little bit. But, these games, shoot 'em ups, are the, I think, ultimate way to enjoy an arcade stick. It's so much fun. The controls feel like they're made for these games. It's just so much better control than a standard controller. It's a lot of fun, and I would highly recommend, if you don't have an arcade stick and you want to get into the world of arcade gaming, pick up one of these sticks. They're pretty cheap. And pick up a copy of R-Type Dimensions, because this will give you 2 great games to practice your skills on. And it's a lot of fun. Anyways, moving over to Steam here. Alright, so now we've moved over to my Steam library, and a good number of these games are going to be playable on Steam Deck as well, and you can hook up this arcade stick to the Steam Deck pretty easily. You just need some kind of USB splitter or something, because obviously this has a USB-A connection on it, so you need a hub or something like that. If you're playing in docked mode, obviously that's not a problem. If you want to play in tabletop mode with your Steam Deck and you have some kind of a kickstand or a stand for it, you absolutely can just run this through a hub or an adapter. Even you can get an adapter for USB-A to USB-C, which makes it work on the Steam Deck. A lot of these games do work on the Steam Deck, but most of the I am playing here at my PC with the arcade stick. So looking first, we have the Contra Anniversary Collection. Now, Contra games are like the quintessential run-and-gun arcade shooter games. Tough as nails, fantastic games, and no better way to experience them, obviously, than with an arcade stick. Contra, absolutely a great way. You can pick this up really cheap on Steam a lot of the time, too. And then you can see here Cuphead. Cuphead is a new or modern game that is made to emulate that Contra style of game with the run and gun and the the shoot 'em up segments and things like that. Tough as nails game, and having an arcade stick absolutely helps make this game a little bit easier because you have more precise controls, a better organized setup. So Death Smiles here. This is a fantastic shoot 'em up, or cute 'em up, you should say, from the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. It was very popular on the Xbox 360. They actually even had a custom faceplate for the 360 that was really cool looking for this game. I've loved this game for years, and this is a great way to play it on PC, on an arcade stick. The graphics are great. There is also a collection with Death Smiles 1 and 2, but yeah, you can pick this up pretty cheaply. DuckTales Remastered. I have this game on like every platform I possibly can. I have it here on Steam, I have it on the Wii U, I have it on the PS3. Absolutely love this game, and being based around a 2D NES game, DuckTales, if you haven't played it, it converts perfectly to having arcade controls. I absolutely love playing it that way. Basically anything that emulates that NES or Super NES style of like platformers, shoot 'em ups, run and guns, your Metal Slug games, things like that, which I don't have here to show you. Here we have another fighting game that I have not admittedly played yet. But I know, of course, that all 2D fighting games are going to work great on the arcade stick, and that is Guilty Gear XX Accent Core. I just picked this up not too long ago, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Here is a game that I absolutely adore. I'm not even sure how to categorize this game. That is Huntdown. This is a newer indie-ish game that kind of has flavors of Contra in a way, and kind of has flavors of some other games, but basically you are like a bounty hunter, and you're going through these 2D levels using different weapons, machine guns and things like that, to kill the minions of the bad guy, and then you get to the boss, and every boss has a unique way to beat him, but it's all about basically, just hitting him enough times with your guns or your dynamite or whatever weapons are presented to you. I absolutely adore this game. It is tough. I've beaten the first 3 or 4 bosses, and I keep going back to it and trying again, but it's all about learning those patterns, like a lot of older games do, and I absolutely love it. So what have we got here? Here's another fantastic shoot 'em up. The thumbnail is not great, but Ikaruga. I first experienced this game on the GameCube and absolutely fell in love with it. As a shoot 'em up, this game absolutely benefits from having an arcade stick because of the mechanic of the game where you switch polarity back and forth. So you've got all kinds of bullets coming at you. This is a bullet hell game, but your enemies will shoot either white or red bullets. And in addition to having to shoot them and kill them, you also have to change the polarity of your ship in order to get through. So if they're shooting red bullets, you have to switch to red so that the bullets don't hurt you, and then you got to switch back to white for the white bullets that are coming at you. It adds a whole other layer of complexity into a shoot 'em up, and having an arcade stick is an absolute benefit here because having your controls, boom, right there in front of you, that you don't have to take your hands off the shoot button or whatever. Like, it's perfect. Absolutely love. I think this is the best way to play Ikaruga in 2023 is on an arcade stick on Steam. Then we've got the Injustice games here. Not much to be said about these. They're 2D fighting games from the DC universe, made by the same people that make Mortal Kombat, so these games are fantastic. The graphics are great for their time, and they play great on an arcade stick. Then we've got Panzer Paladin. This is another sort of 8-bit indie 8-bit inspired game, sort of similar to a Mega Man in a way, where you get through certain parts of the level, you get a new ability or a new weapon or something, and it gives you access. So kind of not exactly Metroid-y. I'm not sure how to describe this game. I've actually had some difficulty with it, but it is a fantastic game. But yeah, again, 8-bit 2D side-scrolling game. Absolutely perfect for an arcade stick. Street Fighter V, this does run great on the Steam Deck, I must say, and I've been having a ton of fun with Street Fighter V, both on the arcade stick and on PC. Switching back and forth with the cloud saves is an absolute dream and makes me wonder why I ever want to buy another console again, to be honest. And then my all-time favorite beat-em-up here, Streets of Rage 4. Absolutely love this game. The Streets of Rage series started on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive for you European and Japanese sort of folks. This is a standard 2D beat 'em up. You have a limited range of moves. You just punch and kick your way through the hordes of enemies, get to the boss, beat the boss, move on. This game has a incredible ambiance, an incredible kind of backstory, world building. I absolutely love what's going on in this game, and that reminds me, I forgot to mention and put a couple of games in my Switch list. The River City Girls compilation, which can be got physically. You can buy it digitally, or you can get it physically from Play Asia. I have the one from Play Asia, the physical, that has River City Girls 1 and 2 on it. I'm still missing River City Girls 0, which I need to pick up somewhere. These games, like Streets of Rage 4, are fantastic, great, fun stories, great graphics, and I absolutely love them. So you've got the River City Girls game, and then the titular Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which was famously delisted from the Xbox and all platforms, and then made a comeback thanks to limited run games a couple of years ago. So I've got that also plays fantastic on here. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for sticking it out, looking at these games with me, and I will talk to you again in the future. I don't know when I'm going to make another video. Again, this summer has been so incredibly busy, I just can't keep up with everything, but I did want to come in here, make a quick video with as little editing as possible, just to get something out that you could enjoy and maybe get a little something from. Let me know down in the comments, do you have an arcade stick? Do you have one of these arcade sticks? And what do you think of it? And what are some games, if you do, that you would recommend that I play using my arcade stick? Because I am constantly looking for experiences that are made so much better by this device. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay classy.